Welcome to Fortress of Faith with Tom Wallace, calling North America to repentance and revival.
We're back again at the corner of truth and courage. Thank you for joining us here today. And we're continuing on with our subject, talking about the top 10 questions that are fluttering around on the internet about Islam. These are questions that I often get myself that in some shape, some form are being sent to me. So I want to kind of go through these with you. We're on number 5, by the way. We've covered number 1, what is Islam? What do Muslims actually believe? Number 2, who is Muhammad? Why is he so central to Islam? Number 3, what does the Quran say about violence, jihad, peace, all that stuff? Number 4, why are there so many conflicts in the Middle East? And number 5 today, what is Sharia law? And how does it apply to different countries? Okay, so by the way, if you've missed any of our broadcasts, you can always re-listen to shows or catch the ones you've missed on our website, fortressoffaith.org, fortressoffaith.org. We're also on Spotify and on YouTube. And just tune into the channels and you can listen to us on your time. And we'd love to hear your feedback as well. Okay, so today, what is Sharia law and how does it apply to different countries? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply it to our country here in America, and you'll see that it's not compatible in any way, shape, or form with Western government, with Western laws. It's a completely foreign system and dangerous to our way of life if it gets a foothold here. It has already in Britain. There are legally Sharia law courts operating in Britain with the government's backing. And now Britain, they've been doing this for over 10 years. 2008 is when it started, so more than 10 years. And now Britain has realized, oh boy, we've made a mistake here. We've got to correct this. We've got to change things back. Of course, the Muslims are not going to let that happen without a fight. They've given already a foothold in the country, which is what they wanted, what they desire, and they want to spread that throughout the rest of the world. They're obligated. Their law, their government, their religion obligates them. Okay, so what is Sharia law? Well, Sharia simply means law in Arabic. If you say law in Arabic, you're just simply saying Sharia. So basically, we're saying law. It's the law of Allah. There is a Sharia law book. It was printed about came in at about 1200s, about 700 years after Muhammad. All the scholars of Islam came together. They had a big council, and they worked on what they all agreed upon, and they came up with a book. And it's called The Reliance of the Traveler, a Muslim's on a pilgrimage. And as he travels here on earth during his pilgrimage, these are the laws that he can rely on to please Allah. There's over 1,000 pages. It's been translated for us into English, thankfully, that we can understand it. And it doesn't take much. You don't have to go very far to realize, oh my goodness, that can't work well in our world, in our Western ways. And so I'm going to compare that to the Bill of Rights, to our Constitution. And I'm just going to take a small portion out of our Constitution, just the First Amendment, and we're going to compare how that works with Sharia law. But let me tell you this. Here's what Muslims are saying. People, you may have heard of them before. Bin Laden repeatedly condemned man-made laws and pagan constitutions as illegitimate. He criticized systems that do not make Islam, Sharia, the sole source of its legislation. So any legislation, any laws that are outside of Islam are man's laws, and they're inferior. Bin Laden said he opposed democracies, monarchies alike because they empower human rulers and man-made legal systems rather than the law of God. There's a whole terrorist organization called Boko Haram in Africa, in Nigeria largely, and they forbid the ways of the West. Boko means the ways of the West, forbidden. So the laws of the West completely considered ungodly. Yusuf al-Qaradawi, the most famous cleric who recently died. He has described European norms as devoid of value when they contradict clear Islamic dictates, emphasizing the supremacy of Sharia and conflicting with Western laws. So Muslims are saying, hey, Sharia cannot work within the bounds of Western thinking. Saeed Qutb, the ISIS leader who recently was killed, he said obedience to man-made laws and governments is a form of idolatry. Anjem Choudhury, the British Islamist, and I like Choudhury. I mean, I disagree with him greatly, but what I like about him, he's just going to say it out how it is. He's not going to try to sugarcoat Islam in any way. He says, we don't recognize British laws at all. We believe in Islam. We believe in the Sharia. And that's what sets our parameters for what is right and wrong, not British laws. So basically, they just can't come to agreement. Omar Ahmed, the co-founder of CARE, the Council of American Islamic Relations, was caught revealing his true beliefs there. Usually they're very cautious, but he was exposed. Islam isn't in America to be equal to any other faith, but to become dominant. The Quran should be the highest authority in America, and Islam the only accepted religion on earth. Okay, let's boil it down. In Islam, one way is superior, and man's way is inferior. Islam is superior, and anything else is inferior. And so to go for something outside of Islam would be unacceptable. Okay, so let's break this down. Let's look at the First Amendment, and let's compare that. In the First Amendment, you've got 5 freedoms: the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press, the freedom to address your government if you've got a problem with them, and of course, freedom of speech, freedom of press, and the freedom to assemble. I missed that one. And so let's look at these freedoms and let's compare Islam with it, okay? The freedom of religion. So basically, our laws here in America says, hey, you've got the right to choose whatever religion you want to live by. The government cannot establish a religion. Actually, the First Amendment restricts the government from establishing a religion to say we're going to have one religion here. Well, we can't do that here in America. And it gives you the right to practice your faith according to your conscience. However, in Islam makes it very clear. No. We have freedom of religion, but that's the freedom to choose one religion, and that is the religion of Islam. Very clearly, the teaching of apostasy, someone who leaves Islam deserves death, to be killed. So I'm not going to quote the Sharia here. I could do that, but I don't have the time. Very, very clear all through the scriptures of Islam and in the hadiths, the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. Many people were killed if they left Islam, or if they didn't accept Islam, they were to be killed. Freedom of religion. You can't blaspheme. Well, that moves us into the second one. What about the freedom of speech? Are people free to say whatever they want? Well, not in Islam. And you try it in a Muslim country and see what happens. You're going to have a short life. Blasphemy laws. Any speech deemed as insulting to Islam or the Prophet is criminal and will be treated with capital punishment. If you're lucky, you'll spend the rest of your days in jail, but you'll likely have your head removed. Criticism of Muhammad. I mean, look at what happened with the Danish cartoons. Remember that? Talk about freedom of speech. Well, no, Islam does not permit that. Okay, so freedom of religion and freedom of speech are severely treated in Islam. I mean, we're talking death penalties here. What about freedom of the press? Well, again, the freedom of the press falls in the same line of freedom of speech. If people don't have the individual rights to say stuff against Islam, then certainly they're not going to allow the press to print it. So any public publishing material or taking the scriptures or another religious teaching into those countries could be met with very severe treatments. Again, back to the Danish cartoons. Look how the press in the West, and that's what the Danish cartoons was all about, was an exercise to say, hey, this is Denmark. Denmark is not a Muslim country. We in Denmark have freedoms of speech. We can say things if we like that's offensive. And we're going to show and demonstrate to the Muslims here, you've come to Denmark. Denmark does not allow you to restrict our speech. So they printed these cartoons, and the Muslims went ballistic. And so the Muslims said, no. You're going to, even though we're a guest in your country, you're going to abide by our new rules. Our rules trump your rules. Oh, really? Do you really want that in your country? I hope not. Okay, number 4, the freedom of assembly, the freedom to assemble and to contradict or speak against your government. Well, Islam does not allow you the freedom of that speech, so they're not going to allow you to come together in a group, in an assembly, to voice your opposition to the Islamic government. So, I mean, these things are unheard of. This was tried in Iran. I mean, look at Iran, what's been going on over the last few months. The people have tried to come forward and say, listen, we've got a problem with your Islamic republic here. We don't want it anymore. We want to go back to the old ways. We want the king to come back. We want the prince to come back, and we want freedom. And how well did that work for them? What are we looking at? 40, 50,000 people murdered in the streets by that government, Islamic government, because they wanted to assemble in the streets to speak out against their government. So how does Sharia law work with the foreign governments? Well, look how it works even within their own government. And the freedom to petition your government, well, that's the assembling and the petition of your government kind of wrapped up into the same answer. The fact is this, to answer this question, how does Sharia fit with foreign laws? It doesn't. It won't adapt. It is their way, or I was going to say the highway, but really it's either their way or the death way. Either you comply or die. And so Islam doesn't really have a lot of, or Sharia doesn't have a lot of wiggle room, does it? So when we come back in the next few days, we're going to be answering some more of these questions. We've got 5 more to go. We've answered 5 of them, and we'll get more into these topics. I hope these are a blessing to you and help. I've been on the radio now for getting close to 2 decades now, and we're trying to tell people, listen, folks, Muslims have been lied to, and therefore they need the truth. They need Christ. They've been told that their prophet is a prophet of God. No, he's a false prophet. The Quran is a false gospel, and they need the truth, and the truth is in the Bible. But we also need to resist. We need to evangelize Muslims, but we need to resist the makings of Islam, and the Sharia law is the big part of that. And I hope that you'll take a stand against it. Well, we're going to have to stop here. We'll be back again tomorrow, so join us then at the corner of truth and courage. God bless you.